Do you see any of your code on Facebook?
Sai, could
Mark.
Did I use any of your code?
You stole our whole goddamn idea.
Fellas,
Match.com for
can I
Harvard,
continue
guys.
with my deposition?
You know, you really don't need a forensics team to get to the bottom of this. If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
Montages have always been a signature of good movies, be it Parasite, Goodfellas, or any Christopher Nolan movie ever. They are specifically attributed to the usage of condensation of time, space, or emotions with the intent of yielding a musical effect in the sequence. Now let's look at The Social Network in detail and how the award-winning editors Kirk Baxter and Angus Wall carved a masterpiece out of it. One of the reasons why I love this movie so much is that most of the movie is filled with montages and intercutting sequences, and that's exactly what I'm going to focus on in this video. Let's start with the famous face smash sequence, which starts about 8 minutes into the movie after Mark blogs derogatory stuff about Erica Albright post their breakup. Divided into two parts, the first one is about creating face smash, while the second one is about executing it. Let's look at the first part. Focusing on multiple locations including the Kirkland Dome, where a drunk Mark starts hacking databases of multiple colleges while writing the code for face smash, and the girls getting ready to enter the Phoenix party. The editors cross-cut between both the scenes simultaneously. In both locations, the situation is warming up for the real party to get started. After Mark successfully hacks all the databases and the girls start getting acquainted with the people around them, the first part of the montage ends with Eduardo entering the dorm as the music fades out. Now the second part of the face smash montage starts with Eduardo scribbling the algorithm for Mark. Both the parties, the creators of the hotness comparison application and the ones using the application, are just enjoying. The former waiting for it to get viral, while the latter using it to objectify girls unknown to them. The second part mostly focuses on the people enjoying or getting offended by this app, while the creators of Face Smash occupy less screen time, while the first part was converse of this. In short, the first part was dedicated to the coders, while the second part is dedicated to the audience. The first half consists of fast-paced, steady beat music with blips and beeps, while the second half consists of slow-paced, squeaky heavy rocker with up-tempo electric guitar and mechanized drums. Comparing the shots of both the parts, the ones in the first half are mostly static and constitute multiple quick cuts, while those in the second part are slow-paced, and in order to make it sync with the music, some of the shots are slowed down in the editing process. The second one is the lawsuit montage. So here, Mark is in between two different lawsuits. The one where he is sued by Eduardo and the other one by the Winklevoss brothers or the Winklevi. The genius of the makers is that they introduced us to the structure of the sequences in the breakup scene at the start of this movie. The conversation takes place on multiple topics, due to which the question of one topic is not answered on the next dialogue, but two or three lines later.
Sometimes not singing in an acapella group is a good thing.
This is serious.
On the other hand, I do like guys who wrote crew.
Well, I can't do that.
I was kidding.
Yes, I got nothing wrong with the test.
Have you ever tried
I'm trying right now
to row crew?
to get into a final club. To row crew, no, are you like, whatever, delusional?
Maybe it's just sometimes you say two things at once. I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to be aiming at.
The same thing happens in this montage. The shots of Eduardo lawsuit are sandwiched between the shots of the Winklevi lawsuit, and the editors use the alternate chain of shots to maintain continuity, and this is purely done based on dialogues.
It was 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know what I said.
When did you come to Eduardo?
I don't understand that question.
You remember answering in the affirmative.
The affirmative.
When did you come to Eduardo with the idea for Facebook?
It was called The Facebook then.
This doesn't need to be that difficult.
I'm currently in the middle of 2 different lawsuits.
After this scene is complete, the editors create a montage of Eduardo lawsuit, nesting it with the scene at Alpha Epsilon Pi.
And he was going to have to write tens of thousands of lines of code, so I wondered why he was coming to me and not his roommates, Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes. They were programmers.
We're gonna need a little startup cash to rent the servers and get it online.
So that was why.
After this scene ends, we come back to all the three parties, that is Mark, Eduardo, and the Winklevi sitting together with their lawyers. Immediately after this montage, we come to the email montage, in which Winklevi's lawyer Sai is reading a chain of emails sent to his clients by Mark.
You're about to find it in evidence.
Like any montage, there is cross-cutting between multiple locations, but notice the shots here. The shots where anything that's leading to some progress or work, like Mark coding or Eduardo undergoing Phoenix recruitment, are dynamic, while any place where there is no work or progress are static. Another technique the editors use in this movie is montaging through situational description, along with dialogue continuation, and this is done in the 7-minute long meeting montage. Starting with the Eduardo lawsuit and continuing through the meeting at Morrison Gage, and later cutting back and forth with the Sean Parker meeting. Like the face mash montage, this also has 2 parts. Of course, the meeting at Morrison Gage fails, while the meeting with the Sean Parker gets somewhere, which is creatively described through the types of shots, the frequency of cuts, and music. Let's compare them. There are hardly 5 shots in the Morrison Gage meeting, mostly in medium and wide, while Sean Parker's scene has more than 30 shots including wide, medium, and close-up shots, mostly in that order. The shots are longer in the Morrison Gage scene than that of the Sean Parker meeting, which makes the latter more interesting. The music for the Morrison Gage scene is a gentle jazz theme, while the music for the Sean Parker scene is a fast, high-paced synth one. Now let's talk about a montage that involves no cross-cutting and there are no dialogues. It's the Henley Royal Regatta race sequence. This 2-minute sequence consists of around 55 shots, starting with the wide angle and slowly going towards the competitors through long and medium, followed by close-ups and inserts. This is a perfect example of rhythmic montage, where the cuts are done keeping both the visual and auditory elements in mind. The music used here is an electronic version of Edvard Grieg's In the Hall of the Mountain King, where composers don't exactly manipulate the music but add a layer of electronic instruments to the original. This is done to portray that the Winklevoss minds are not entirely focused on the race, but also on their dispute with Mark Zuckerberg, who allegedly stole their idea. Now the music's pace increases with time, and so does the frequency of cuts in this montage. As they lose the race, the final shot to this montage is again a wide angle, fulfilling the last in first out rule. These amazing editing techniques used in The Social Network is one of the major reasons for this movie becoming a modern day classic and a perfect case study for filmmakers. The shots in this movie might seem simple, but to achieve perfection, it takes an incredible amount of experimentation and patience. In the end, it all boils down to the editing room, because as Joe Dante says, editing is where the movies are made or broken.